Remakes can be a wonderful thing. It gives developers an opportunity to go back to an older work and to make it fresh again, fixing elements that didn't work so well with the current technology or reworking parts of the game that simply didn't sit well with fans. In recent years, the Zelda games have all been getting remakes. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask both saw wonderful ground-up remakes for the 3DS, and Wind Waker saw an HD remaster with heavy changes to the game's structure to make the pacing much better. It's such a trend to just make the graphics better, and I see that as a totally wasted opportunity. I'd much rather them figure out what didn't work in their game, take fan feedback, and polish it into an even better product. Wind Waker's a prime example of a fantastic remake. Everything that felt tedious was changed or removed entirely. You no longer have to play the Wind Waker to change the wind every time the boat can go faster, and you no longer have to pause the game every time you want to bring up the map, which makes fishing for treasure seamless. And these are but a small number of examples, but Wind Waker shows that a great game that had a number of small issues can be made that much better after going back to fix them. I mean, it used to be my least favorite 3D Zelda. Now, it's my second favorite. These days, it's all about them Zelda remakes, but back in the day, Nintendo was actually pretty keen on remaking the Mario games. Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3 all saw 16-bit remakes on the Super Nintendo, and there were Game Boy Advance versions of 2, 3, Mario World, and Yoshi's Island. Nintendo's no stranger to bringing already existing games to a handheld. It's a great way to show off what the new device can do, how it stacks up against the previous gen's console. Super Mario World on the go? Dang, dude, that was pretty impressive at the time. But when Nintendo launched the DS, they needed something in 3D to demonstrate what this thing could do. So, sticking with the Mario series, they decided to remake Super Mario 64, and unlike the Game Boy Advance versions of the Mario games, which only saw graphical updates and minor changes, Mario 64 DS is a complete overhaul of the entire game with loads of brand new content. You can tell by just looking at the cover. Yoshi, Luigi, even Wario. These guys were nowhere to be seen in 64, and Yoshi barely even showed up. You see this on the shelf and you already know there's going to be a lot more to it. Alongside Mario Sunshine, I was playing a lot of this game too. I don't know the timestamp for sure, but I think the DS came out when I was in grade 5, and I know I got it when it was fairly new, so probably late elementary, early middle school I was playing this one. I can't say for certain, but it wouldn't surprise me if I played this version even more than the original. And that said, I haven't actually touched this one since like 2008, so yeah, why don't we get started? Mario. So you know how Mario 64 starts out with that render of Mario's head to be all like, whoa dude, this console sure is powerful. They do the exact same thing here, except, oh damn dude, that actually looks really good this time. 60 FPS too, this is honestly impressive for the DS. I mean, you get all of these jaggies since there's no anti-aliasing and it's only in 240p, but I always kinda like the way DS games looked, you know, it's like a Nintendo version of the original PlayStation. Honestly, I think low poly games look best in this style, and that's why I kinda always dug the way PS1 games looked a lot more than N64 games. You don't get to tug on Mario's face this time, which is a bummer, but you can draw stuff and tug on that. It's not that exciting. There's Mike Jones for you though. And an Octumba. So, same as before, blah blah blah, the princess and the cake, and hey go, it's Mario, and Luigi. And Wario, they all go into the castle only to disappear completely. This leaves Yoshi, who's still sleeping atop the castle, that's a nice touch, to go inside and figure out what's up. So yeah, unexpectedly we begin the game playing as not Mario, but Yoshi. He can't punch or kick, but he can instead use his tongue to swallow enemies and turn them into eggs. He can then throw the egg with the R button, which will auto-target and frickin' bonk off anybody nearby. He can also do his flutter jump, which feels real good. You gotta have that, of course, and it works well. Now, Yoshi kinda really sucks in some areas. He can't break blocks and he can't pick some things up, so chuck-yas are gonna chuck ya around and ya ain't gonna chuck him, he's gonna chuck ya, and ya ain't gonna do nothing about it. You can eat fire though and spit it back out. That's cool. It's only helpful like twice in the game, but it's still cool. Anyway, so the first 8 stars you're gonna have to do as Yoshi, and since Yoshi can't pick dudes up, some parts of the game have been totally changed, like the boss fight with King Bob-omb. Instead of grabbing him from behind, he'll chuck Bob-ombs at you and you'll gobble them up and spit them back out. Once you've got the 8 stars, you can rescue Mario. You'll achieve this by playing one of the handful of totally brand new stages, 3 of which hide an unlockable character behind a brand new boss fight. Well, one of them is brand new, the other 2 2 are reskins of already existing enemies, which is kinda lame, but oh well. Though it is pretty cool to see them bring back some characters from the Mario spin-off games, like to rescue Mario, you've gotta fight King Goomba from Paper Mario, and Luigi's locked up by King Boo. Okay guys, you can't just put a crown on a Boo and call him King Boo. You need those sunken eyes, those details, come on guys. And yeah, I know he calls himself Big Boo, but that is a mistranslation. He's supposed to be King Boo, and somebody messed it up. Either way, I'm always glad to see established personalities make their way into the main series. It couldn't be more fitting to have Luigi trapped in the ghost level. Wario even scratches his ass during his idle animation. I like that, it's fitting for his character. For a boss fight though, Wario only gets this giant ice bully. It would have been cool if they got an enemy or something from the Wario Land games, but whatever, they got lazy with this one. So of course, the 4 characters all play somewhat differently. Mario plays pretty much the same as he did in 64, while Luigi has better jumping ability and Wario has improved strength. Mario's the only character that can use the wall kick, and hallelujah dude, they made wall jumping so much better in this game. Brought back that wonderful wall slide from Sunshine, so you no longer go and bounce off a wall every time you make a minor error in your jump. You still get that if you say long jump or dive into a wall, which is perfectly fair, but otherwise it's the wall slide, hell yeah. A little disappointed you can no longer long jump into a wall kick though. It's not essential, but it was one of those advanced moves that were really satisfying to pull off. Unique to Luigi is a spin jump that's executed out of his backflip, and oh my god, I know I said Luigi had enhanced jumping, but good lord, dude, this straight up breaks the game. You can skip pretty much everything with this. He can also run on water for a short time, which is way cool, but it's never useful. I mean, why bother introducing a mechanic if you never need to use it? Here, let me design an area where you can figure out you gotta use a run on water. Okay, so we got water, and yeah, we'll put a fence here. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to jump out of the water up there. You'll have to run on the water under the fence, and then you could jump off from there. There you go. You could have thrown like 2 things like that in there, and it would have been a cool mechanic. I don't think it would be that hard. See, I figured it out in 2 seconds. I literally came out, I just made that up. Easy peasy. Come on, guys, you can do better. As for Wario, he can break those big black bricks, and yeah, that's about it. That's about it for Wario. Otherwise, he's a pretty bad character to play as. He's super slow, and he can't jump very high, and swimming as him, oh my god, he goes so slow. Oh, let's just be thankful Wario never has to race anybody. They make you do that with Mario. Imagine this guy racing Il Paintissimo, Jesus. And yes, Il Paintissimo, not two, yeah, Jesus Christ, I thought it was 2 Paintissimo my entire life, until everyone in the comments was like, no, so yeah, oops, yeah, that font, man. Now, unique to the characters are the power-ups. Instead of hitting a colored block to get the corresponding cap, all blocks are now red and contain power flowers. Depending on who you're playing as, you'll get a different power-up from it. Wario gets the metal power-up, Luigi gets the vanish power-up, and Mario gets the wing cap. They all work exactly the same as they did before. New to the game are 2 more. Yoshi gets unlimited fire breath for a little bit. Cool, I guess, but again, kinda useless. Mario, on the other hand, has a secondary power-up, Balloon Mario, making its long-awaited return from Mario World. Mario will float in the air for a short time, and you can tap the B button to ascend. Which power-up you get from the block as Mario just depends on the area you're in. If you want to swap between characters, you'll visit this room. What was once only a gate to the secret slide is now a full-fledged area containing 2 more levels and 4 doors. Each door has one of the main characters behind it. To switch characters, you'll simply enter the door of whomever you want to swap to. To switch back to Yoshi, you'll enter the character's own door. Now, it's gonna sound tedious to have to come all the way back here to switch characters every time, especially since there's a lot of character-specific stars, but the game remedies this with character caps. We almost had another DK64 problem on our hands, but these guys knew what's up. After you've unlocked a character, their cap will be laying around any stage, usually near a spot where you actually need the character. Grabbing it will transform you into said character, at least until you either collect a star or take damage. However, there's no cap to transform into Yoshi, and while there aren't many, there are still a handful of stars that do require playing as him. When you are playing as Yoshi, though, you'll have the option to start any course with one of the 3 hats, which kinda makes actually playing as the other characters sort of obsolete. On the other hand, the voice clips don't change, and having Yoshi sounds come out of Wario is stupid. You're not Yoshi, shut up. I spent the grand majority of my playthrough playing as Luigi. That backflip it makes him such a better character to play as. And if I needed somebody else, I could simply pick up a Cap. Except Yoshi, I'd run back for him, but it didn't happen a lot, so whatever. So yeah, that's the rundown on what's new mechanically, characters and whatever, but obviously, as you can tell, the game's also had a brand new coat of paint in the graphics department. The models look so much better, way closer to what they're actually supposed to look like. Not just a Mario and friends, but the enemies too. Chain Chomp, Shy Guys, Goombas, even the Snuffits had an updated look to closer resemble ghost versions of Sniffits. Pretty much the only thing in the game that looks the same are the Chuckyas, but they're like a purple ball. I don't know how you really update that. I mean, it's a better looking purple ball, but I don't know. I like how Bowser actually looks like Bowser this time instead of a chunky polygon sandwich. I mean, look at this thing. What am I even looking at? It looks like he fell down the stairs and broke all of his bones and they patched him up with cardboard and paint. Exactly, yes. My favorite thing about the new visuals, though, has got to be the color. It is so much more vibrant than the original. Everything pops in a way it just didn't on N64, and despite the chunky, jagged, low resolution, it looks really good. My only real gripe with the new graphics is that Mario doesn't do the V thing with his hands anymore. Why? As well as new graphics and characters, we've also got a couple of new levels. I've mentioned earlier the character stages. They're these brief segments you'll run through before fighting a boss. There aren't any new actually full-fledged levels, but there are 2 new bonus stages, a fortress stage and a beach stage, both of which will have you collecting 5 silver stars. This is one of the new game mechanics they introduced, silver stars. It's similar to collecting red coins, but taking damage will have you drop them. It's also a little easier to find them all because they're all marked on your map on the bottom screen. A lot of the levels have been reworked a little bit. Some missions have been replaced by others, and new areas have been added altogether. Tick-Tock Clock is definitely worth mentioning. They added this whole new ground area, so falling off, while meaning you'll have to climb back up, doesn't always guarantee a death, and I do like that a lot. I think falling down is enough punishment. Like, you have to climb up either way, not much point in making me lose a life and have to reload the map, There's even been a lot of tweaks to platform size and placement, and I'm thinking that's probably to compensate for the controls because yep, that is what you control this game with, a D-pad. But wasn't that the entire point of this game, to show the world what full 3D analog control could really do for a game? Here we have a remake that completely removes that. And yeah, I know it's because it landed on a console that simply didn't have a joystick, and they made this to show what the DS could do, but really, I think it does a better job of showing what the DS couldn't do. Analog control is so important to Mario 64. Having to use this D-pad can make the game downright infuriating sometimes. Gone is the total freedom of moving Mario in any of 360 directions. Now, we have 8 measly directions to move Mario and his friends in, and that sucks dick because this game was designed from the ground up with more than 8 directions in mind. Sure, you can adjust the camera with the touchpad to get a better angle, and the camera is much more responsive in this version. Any area it refused to turn in the original, it now works like it should, but even still, I find executing specific moves nearly impossible sometimes. The side jump, this was my most used move in the game, and now I can hardly get it to freaking work. Sometimes I end up falling off the damn stage because I just tried to do a side jump. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna tell me to play it on the 3DS so I can use a circle pad, and yeah, that is a lot easier on your thumb, but that doesn't magically reprogram the game to have 360 directions. You still only have 8. Anything in between is this null space that snaps to whichever the 8 direction you're pointing closest to. It definitely doesn't ruin the game, but it does strip it away of that amazing game feel the original had. Advanced maneuvers are pretty much out of the question now, and you'll instead be relying on Luigi's backflip to cheese everything. Except this part will all be go to hell. They made sure you actually have to go down the slide this time. You jerks.
I mean, like, it's still a functional game, right? They did tweak parts of the levels to compensate for poorer controls, but what I find somewhat irritating is that they were willing to put forth all the effort to redesign entire stages around this, but they weren't willing to restructure the parts of the game that had pacing issues. Like, they're willing to address the flaws this remake introduces, but they're not going to fix the ones that were already there.
If you've watched my Mario 64 video, you'll know that my biggest problem with the game is the structure of a handful of stages. The ones that are designed like a single linear obstacle course, having you stop at a point to get a star, only to boot you from the level so you can do it over and over and over again. This is still just as much a thing as it was before. You still have to climb Tall Tall Mountain 5 times, you still have to climb Tick-Tock Clock 7 times, and you'll still have to ride this stupid carpet over and over and over again. Not to mention the cheap placement of stuff that's so eager to toss you back down and make you lose all of your progress in an instant. That's still here, like this. Like, no, please, no, come on, no, please, no. Who put a Chuckya here?
Why? Why would you put him there? Who's the dickhead that put a Chuckya at the top of Rainbow Ride? Let's see how you like it!
Remaking a game is an opportunity to address flaws the original had. Mario 64 DS solves none of these. Tiny Huge Island, for example, it's still a clunky-ass pile of garbage. But to make things worse, they thought it'd be a cool idea to slap Klepto on the stage. Yes, cool, thank you. What a great and fun design choice that improves this video game. Oh, stop. I need to put him here. No. They concentrated too much on adding stuff that's new than sprucing up the old. I don't think it would have been hard. Just like not boot me from the stage every time I get a star in Tick-Tock Clock or Rainbow Ride. And yeah, that would create an inconsistency, but you could roll with it like these two stages are unique and have their own rules. Other games have done that, and as long as you do it sparingly, it doesn't come off as jarring.
Here is a visual metaphor for Mario 64 DS. This is a sandwich. It's an older recipe, right? But I do still really like it. There's a lot of stuff on this sandwich I really like, but there's some stuff on it I'm not a big fan of. So we're gonna make this sandwich taste a lot better. Now it'll taste better.
Sometimes less is more, dude. The stuff they added is really cool, but remaking a game shouldn't be about just adding stuff. It should be about fine-tuning what's already here, removing things that didn't work and replacing it with stuff that does work, not just adding stuff on top of it. I think what it really boils down to is that they didn't remake this game because they felt it needed to be remade, but rather because they wanted to show the DS could run this, and they simply added new content to give people who've already played the game reason to buy it again. But what good is 150 stars if a lot of these stars are just as frustrating to get? Wouldn't you rather a more enjoyable 120 stars? I don't know, dude. Oh, speaking of getting all of the stars, I guess that brings me to the last thing I really have to talk about, and that is the rabbits. Hidden within the castle are rabbits, other than Mips, I mean. In fact, he's not even in this game, but we've got many rabbits in 4 different colors. Catching them will unlock mini-games in the rec room. Anyway, so the reason I bring them up is because, well, you're probably wondering what that 4th door is all about. So, at any given time when you load a room, a rabbit you've already caught has a random chance of spawning as a silver rabbit instead. If you manage to catch all 8 of them, you'll get the key to the secret room. It's this cool side quest that the game doesn't tell you about. In fact, I remember having a friend tell me all about it. It was definitely one of those things you'd hear from a neighbor or a friend's little brother or something like that. So, what's behind the door? Star. That's it? Just a regular old star. Oh, that's That is really lame, and I'll tell you why that's really lame. This is like a secret, not like a, oh look at the secret slide to get a star secret. This is a secret you have a random chance of even seeing. Unless you know about it and how it works, you might not even do it or be aware that it's even a thing. And your reward for doing it is the same thing you get for beating any other mission in the game. It turns it from this cool super secret side thing into, oh yeah, you also have to do this if you want all the stars. Well, with that said, all there's left is to check out the mini-games. I noticed a lot of early DS games were these dumb half-baked ideas that were just an excuse to use the touchscreen. So I really appreciated Nintendo getting that out of the way by including it in a larger package instead of just making a game focused upright on it. We've got 4 categories: Yoshi, Mario, Luigi, and Wario. Yoshi's mini-games are mostly focus and puzzle games, flipping tiles, matching sounds, which box has the Yoshi in it. The wanted one I used to play for hours. My high score in the damn thing is 149, and the best part is that I remember I only stopped playing there because I got bored and not even because I screwed up or couldn't do it. Mario's minigames are more action focused, drawing trampolines to guide Marios through rings, curling. The bob-omb one's kind of fun, dragging them all into the proper side of the screen. Wario's are kinda all over the place. We've got pachinko games, slingshot games, concentrating on what blocks had coins land in them. I'm not really particularly fond of any of these ones, except that card reading minigame. You just stare at the back of the card until you can guess which card it is. It'll get slightly transparent if you stare at it long enough. Sometimes it's pretty blatant, other times I really just feel like I'm guessing. But the crown jewel of it all is Luigi's games. They're all casino minigames. The slots are dumb, but we've got a lot of card games that are genuinely addicting. I used to play poker with Luigi for hours. I have over 1,000 coins on my old file. What the hell? How long did I play this for? And damn, dude, Luigi looks fly as hell in that vest. It's a crying shame we never got to see the guy sporting it again. It looks really good on him.
So, yeah, that is Mario 64 DS. It's an okay remake, I guess. It definitely doesn't fix any of the issues I had with the original, and that's kind of what a remake really should do in my eyes, but they did add a lot of really cool stuff, and the new graphics do look really, really nice. However, the cruddy controls make it impossible to recommend over the original. That level of satisfaction you get from pulling off all those cool jumps and outsmarting the level design, that's all gone, all to be replaced with Luigi backflipping over everything. Though, while I would not recommend it over the original, I would recommend it alongside the original. Even if you've beaten Mario 64 a bunch of times before, there's still plenty new here to make it worthwhile. Plus, it's portable. Until they get Mario 64 on the Switch, this is your only option for a portable Mario 64. It's not a bad one, but it could have been a better one. Well, I guess that's it for the remakes in this video series. They only really ever remade the one 3D Mario game, but next time we're going to be taking a look at Mario's biggest step forward. So, I'll be back next time with Super Mario Galaxy. See you guys then.